Today we said we're gonna talk a little bit about breathing, about all these techniques that can dim down a bit our anxiety and just be present with ourselves. And we were talking yesterday about all this, what we're gonna say, and I'm not such an expert in breathwork. I do a couple of exercises and I saw that they're really helping me, because now I'm for 2 weeks now, 1 week and a half on really high, not really high, but quite an high altitude. And I see when I wake up in the morning, like today, my saturation was 88% only. So then I need to start really doing these breath exercises, and I get it up to 100, so I feel also better because I'm not sleeping good because of this. And what are your suggestions, or not suggestions, what is your breathwork technique that you are using? I know you are more into it than me, so...
I'm more, but not in a very deep way, let's say. But before we go into the kind of breathwork I do, maybe you can show to our listeners what was the technique that you used to get from 85 to 100, because I think people might use it, might find it helpful.
So what I did in the morning was just, I started really doing this diaphragmatic breathing, so I really emptied all my lungs. So when you pull the belly in and upwards, so you do this hollow belly exhale, and then really filling it up. And I did this for like not more than 2 minutes, and it was enough. So, but what I'm usually doing in the morning, and I did it also with my clients when I was still teaching a lot of Pilates, was this alternative nasal breathing, when you put one finger on the left nostril, one finger on the third eye, and the other finger on the right one. So you breathe in through the left, you hold the right, you hold it, and then exhale through the right, hold the left, and then breathe in through the right, hold it. So it goes in, out, in, out, in, out.
Yeah.
And I do this usually for 5 minutes, and I think this exercise is pretty good to wake up the brain, because it connects the right and left hemisphere of the brain. So if you need focus, if you need some, let's say, it can go up to that. If you're not so focused, you can get to focus, but if you are too stressed out, it can really relaxes you. So it's like balances your mental state. And I think this is really a lovely exercise, and it's I think it's from yoga. I don't know.
It is, and I love that one as well. And to what count do you usually do the inhales and exhales in this one?
Depends. So if I do box breathing, like 4-4-4-4, I usually don't do this alternative nasal one. But with this one, sometimes I go 8 counts, 8 in, hold for 8, 8 out, hold for 8. Sometimes more, depends of my state. If I really need a lot of air, then maybe I go for 5.
I think the idea is really that you do the same, normally the same count for inhale, holding, and exhale, similar to box breathing in a way. And I think for all the breathing techniques, it's really important not to follow just whatever you read or heard somewhere where it says do it to the count of 4 or 5 or 6, because as Petra, you were just saying, and I think this is so true, on some days you can go on for 8 or 10 or 15, and the other days all you can give is 3. And I've noticed it with some of the breathwork practices that I was doing, whether we practiced long breath holds, and I noticed that on some days I could hold almost up to 4 minutes, and another day after 2 minutes I'm like, I'm done, I need to breathe in. And I think it's important to also listen to the body and understand where you're at today, because the idea is not to really push yourself into complete discomfort.
No, and I think also for me it's like that. When I start, maybe I'm comfortable with count to 4, but after 5 minutes, I'm totally okay if I hold also sometimes for 16. So
Yeah.
you know, it's also how where is your nervous system. So if you are really stressed out, you won't hold for longer. But if when you get in this relaxed state of mind, I think you can hold it for a bit longer. And those are those techniques, the breathing techniques that are, I think, striving for that we really regulate our nervous system, and that we can then go into the day or sleep better, or that we feel better, that we are in better mental state.
Yeah, something else that I thought of when you were speaking earlier about the fact that, it only takes you about 2 minutes sometimes to notice the shift. I think this is very true for a lot of breathing techniques. If the purpose of you getting into a certain breathing modality is to really shift that nervous system state, for example, you find yourself really anxious or activated and you need to calm down, or maybe the other way around, you find yourself kind of being too low energy and you need to be present, to be active, and you need to wake your system up. It really takes up to 2 minutes to get that shift through breathing. You may want to choose longer breathing practice if you're doing it for other reasons, or it is indeed a practice. But if you want to use the power of your breath just as a quick tool to shift your nervous system response, it only takes up to 2 minutes, really, which is absolutely great.
Yeah, we were doing a lot of breath work also in my ICM when we were studying all these different techniques, and it was funny for me. That was the first time that I even heard about it. That something like this is possible to do. After, like, we were doing it on songs, so we did for 3 songs, and it was around 15 minutes, and you were just following the rhythm of the song and you were breathing along it. So maybe it was like quick inhale in the chest and one in the belly, and then low exhale, or we did 2 quicks, 2 quick outs, so 2 quick in, 2 quick out. And after 15 minutes, my whole body was just joyful. Like I was just smiling. I was just so happy, and it was really interesting. Like, whatever state I was before, after we did these 15 minutes, I was just like smile like this, and I was, oh, life is good. Have you encountered something like that?
No, I've never heard of the breathing to the specific music, but I like the idea, and I think what it does perhaps is also just brings you really into the present moment, and that's what happens with a lot of breathing techniques, because if you're thinking or counting, the idea even behind the box breathing, right? If you have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can't be counting and thinking about something else. And whenever we're worrying or we're anxious, it's because there is a thought happening in the background, which we might not even be consciously aware of, but there is some worry, some fear, something is there. But when you're busy counting or just really focusing on your breath, you can't be also in that future or past, wherever that discomfort is coming from. Because in the present, it's just you in the space you are with your breath. And when you connect to that, you're fully in the present. There's nothing else but joy, really.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, for me that one was interesting because music was usually some shamanic music or some instrumental that was really also soothing or energizing, and different emotions comes up. So maybe with some music that is a little bit more heavy, you felt these heavy emotions also, and maybe you got some memories from, I don't know, childhood or something, and through this breathing you were clearing it out. And I think also it's used, and you can really do it really good for like trauma release therapy or something that it's really helpful. Have you done something like that? What kind of breath work do you do? What is this mind?
So two things come to mind. The type of breath work that I practice with my clients, and I'll talk about it in a bit more detail in a minute. But the first thing that came to my mind, especially because you mentioned the shamanic music, etc., is, you know, when I was in Peruvian jungle with they don't call themselves shamans, they call themselves maestros and maestras, but basically that's what we tend to think of as shamans. And the healing work that they do is through the power of sound, not music per se, but they are singing to you, and through the song, and they are, you know, really skilled and incredibly talented and trained healers, and they can see what energy is blocked and what is present in you, where there are fears, worries, etc., and they sync to that. And it was unbelievable experience to feel things moving in your body just from the sound of their voice. So it was not same music as a musical instrument, but they were using sound to move that energy, to bring the emotions to the surface and out of the body, which was so powerful. And from there, going to the type of breath work that I practice myself now, and I also guide people on, it's called 90 transformational breath work, and it is a very powerful experience in a sense that we also combine the breathing, and we do about 40-45 minutes of active breathing in the session. So really getting a lot of oxygen in the body. It is controlled hyperventilation in effect, which normally when the body goes into hyperventilation, it almost panics, but because it's controlled, we know we're doing it deliberately, it's not taken that way. And the person breathing is completely in control of how fast how deep they want to go, by the depths of the breath they take and the pace. If you want to go deeper in the experience, you just go much faster. But with that, I give my clients this wonderful gear. They have 90 headsets with the music. Really, you're fully immersed. And once you're back, you need to try that, Petra. You love it. And you have eye masks, and you've got these 90 headsets. And there are beautiful journeys pre-recorded, dedicated to different themes. And it could be, you know, along the path of different emotions, getting through the anger and, you know, to freedom, getting over grief and loss, for example, transcending fear. A beautiful one I did yesterday and today was around abundance and self-trust. So there are different themes, and basically while you're breathing and you're with your eyes closed and you have all this sound, you've got beautiful music playing, you've got hypnotic suggestions related to the theme of the journey that are being spoken to you, and you've got binaural beats there and all the little ingredients that really take you into that brainwave where you can tap into subconscious and you can rewrite what's not working for you. And at the same time, you're bringing all the oxygen in, getting the stuck emotions moved. So it's really powerful experience with people often breaking down in tears, and they can't even explain after what has happened. It's just came up to the surface. And I always encourage people, please, 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 if you feel like crying, don't push the tears back in. You've been doing that all your life. Today, in this session, everything comes out.
But when we were doing the practices, like you started crying or something just pop up, and then after 3, 4, 5 breaths, you just cleared it out. Yeah. And you feel so much lighter afterwards. And I think if my memory serves me correctly, I read one study around breath work, how it fires up all the neurons in your brain, and it's like if you're really doing it deliberately, and if you practice it constantly, then I think you can get to the level like you're taking some ayahuasca or something, like psychedelic. So this is another really powerful example that what we can do with our breath.
That was my first experience with 9D breath work. Was actually, it did remind me of my ayahuasca journey, but much milder and more controlled, which was actually very much welcome. With my first ayahuasca experience, it was really being thrown into the deep and having no idea when you get out of it, whether you get out of it. Well, here you're so much in control of how deep you want to go. When you want to come out, it's 1 minute for you to come out and completely feel as before. So, but very similar experience. And people who have experimented with other herbs and mushrooms and stuff, they also said that for them it has been quite similar. So another thing I found was my own breathing practice. I get a lot of ideas, creative ideas, inspirations during the breath work. I do not get that feedback a lot from people. I had someone yesterday who said he came up with all these ideas, and I was super excited that I found someone who also has similar effect. But everyone talks about feeling much lighter, as you were saying as well. You feel lighter, you feel more joyful, you feel more, I guess you feel more connected and being part of the whole. That makes sense. So.
How long do you do your sessions when you are doing it for yourself?
Because these sessions are pre-recorded. Most of them are around an hour and 15 minutes, an hour 20 minutes or so. Mm-hmm. So that's yeah. But it's good, you know, to get into them slowly. Just sit down for 5-10 minutes before, and also you come out of them quite slowly because you're a bit lightheaded, and stuff comes up that you need to process. So normally, you know, when I book a session, it's a 2-hour session, but the actual breathing is going to be an hour and 20 minutes or so.
Oh, that's amazing. I never went so far in, so I think my longest session, I did it only once, was 30 minutes, and it was around healing the inner child.
Yes, I have one of those two, very beautiful journey.
Yeah, but I'm ready to try it out a little bit deeper and let myself go to that way.
Absolutely. When you're back to Dubai, we'll do it. I'm really excited for you to try it.
I think I was listening to one episode of Andrew Huberman. He was having all these different breathing styles and techniques, and it's a whole science behind it. Like, when do you, if you need a quick wake up, so you breathe differently. I don't remember if it's like 2 quick inhales, 1 long exhale, or but it's different types of inhaling and exhaling. What kind of physiological reaction your body gets from that? Do you know something about that? I don't know. So
there are quite a lot of different techniques, but to keep it simple for people to also remember, if you want to activate yourself to wake up in the morning, you want to go faster and you want to go with deep inhales and I would suggest not taking long exhales. So you just go go even, you know, connected breathing without pause on inhale or exhale. So you go, if you do that for 2 minutes, just deep inhales and very quick exhale, you will get quite activated. You don't want to do it if you're already had 3 cups of coffees and ran 2 hours in the gym. That would throw you off the cliff perhaps. But if you're sleepy and you need to write an exam and you need to be fully present, you breathe fast and deep inhales, slow, short exhales will do that. On the other hand, if you are already activated and you need to slow down, or you're in a bit of an anxious state, you want to exaggerate your exhales. Take deep breath into the belly, and I'll say about why it's the belly in a minute, and make your exhales slow. So you may want to even inhale to the count of 4, slowly into the belly, hold for the count of 7, exhale to the count of 8, or play with the numbers, but yeah, but basically slow exhale and into the belly. And if you pay attention, a lot of us breathe into the chest most of the time. It's very shallow breathing, and one of the reasons breathing is so powerful, because it's one of very few functions in our bodies that is controlled by both conscious and unconscious mind, which is great news, because basically our breathing is affected by whatever's happening in our head and in our environment, right? So if we sense danger, we go into fast, shallow breathing through the chest. If we are calm and happy, you're relaxed, you're in a safe environment, you're feeling great, you're likely to breathe slower and breathe in the belly. And so that's one way. But you can turn it around, and by adopting a certain breathing way, you send the signal to your mind that you are safe. So if you're breathing in the belly and you're taking this breath slowly, you're saying, I'm safe, I'm fine. And then the whole hormonal system and whatever is thrown into the body adopts to that message that we are safe, we're okay. But a lot of us, we are in this rushed-paced environment. We forget to breathe deep in the belly, and some people need to learn that actually over again. Although I think babies breathe mostly in the belly. We lose it over time, so it's not even learning, it's kind of relearning, like, or remembering, because it's
and
there.
We need to have our stomach flat, so you cannot have it like so you need to pull it in all the time and stand straight, so there is no movement there, so it's fixed. So we are learned to do that, but this is really unhealthy way. And I think also if you breathe out through your mouth, or if you breathe out through your nose, it's a different, like how the I don't know, I read it somewhere. Have you read the book Breath by Nestor? I don't know his first name, James or John or something like that. And he did an experiment for, I think, for 2 weeks with one of his friends. They went to some lab tests who were just making all the measurements of their body, all the physiological responses, and they were, for 2 weeks, they were allowed to breathe only through their mouth, and then 2 weeks only through their nose, so nothing else. And they were doing exercises, like really heavy exercises, lifting weights, running, being on a bicycle, and or it was 2 months. I don't know. It was one crazy period for me. Like when I was just thinking about it, that I need to breathe like for this kind of period through my mouth or through my nose only. And if you are a mouth breather, your whole face is changing differently. So it shapes differently than when you are breathing through your nose. And it's really healthier to breathe through your nose than through your mouth. And also your body is much healthier afterwards. And I think they got lower blood pressure and better blood tests and everything when they were breathing through their noses. So if somebody who's listening to that is really breathing only through their mouth, don't do that.
I think a lot of people who do that is because quite a few people, they have, for example, congested nose, so they can't really breathe through the nose. But yeah, if it's optional, if you have an opportunity, and I've read about it, some people go as far as apparently there is this mouth tape for the sleep. Mm-hmm. So because you can't control when you sleep, they actually put it on the mouth to breathe through the nose in their sleep, which I read about it. I got curious about it, but I felt like I'm not ready to go as far yet.
Mm-hmm. I think it's easy to just pull it out, or if you need it, but many people are. I was surprised by that. I didn't know that we can learn how we breathe. So if we breathe through our mouth all the time, our nose will get congestion. So we need to relearn how to breathe through our noses. And it's not like, okay, we have some physical stuff inside. It's you have all this Indian stuff that you can pour through one nose and it flows out on the other side. And so, but yeah, it's funny how our bodies are made.
Yeah. It's really fascinating, and I think there is so much we still don't know about our bodies. and it's great to just be curious and notice and explore, and your particular body, not just, yes, as human species where we have a lot of similarities, but at the same time, each individual body is talking to its owner, if you like, and sending signals and communicating the messages. So it's great to befriend it and to actually learn to read those messages.
Yeah, I have also some friends who are divers, like free divers, and they can hold their breath for 6-7 minutes, and this is mind-blowing for me. And I said I want to learn some of this stuff, but I never take time. So
yeah, it's very interesting. So when I was doing this, and it was 1 month's challenge that I was doing with different breathing techniques every morning, and as part of that there were quite extensive breath holds, and I really enjoyed the sensation in the body during the breath holds. You can feel this after you actively breathe, you build it up and then you hold the breath. And a lot of yogic practices also incorporate this extended breath holds. You can really sense this energy cruising through the body and this incredible sensation. And makes you wonder, how much is there that we don't know of and we don't understand still.
Yeah. A lot. Yeah. Do you want to add anything else?
No, I feel like I forgot something, but I don't think it's going to come back today. So if I do remember later, I'll just type it under the post.
So you're doing those 9D breathworks every week. So where can people find you?
Yeah, so I am going to be away next weekend, but on Sunday 29th there will be a group session at 10:15 in the morning at Prana House in Motor City. Only limited number of spaces, so if anyone is interested, please drop me a message, reserve your spot. And then, yeah, usually it's every weekend. Oh, I love these ones you do. Didn't work for me. I need to practice.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. Well, have a lovely day.
You too. Nice evening, and talk to you soon.